In 1964, 38 New Yorkers watched through their windows as one of their neighbors was brutally murdered. Her name was Kitty Genovese, a 28-year-old woman.
The Genovese incident, where a young woman coming home late at night from her work was assaulted by somebody who was one of those random, crazy people.
Kitty was running up the block, and Winston Moseley ran after her until she reached the midpoint of the block, almost directly under this street light. Moseley caught up with her and stabbed her 4 times in the back. Her screams were loud, unmistakable, and reverberated throughout the entire area.
Lights went on in the windows around the courtyard, so we know that people were seeing this. Nobody called the police.
Somebody who lived on the 7th floor opened his window and yelled out, "What's going on down there?" When Moseley heard somebody yelling out, he ran back to his car. Kitty was still alive. She managed to get up. She staggers around the corner here, still screaming. People in that building heard her as well, and she collapses inside this hallway. There's one apartment above there. It was occupied by Carl Ross. Carl opened his door at the time that Moseley returns, and he saw the second attack taking place. And he did nothing.
After stabbing Kitty another 8 times in this very hallway, the killer ran away, leaving Kitty to bleed to death. Eventually, a neighbor called the police, but it was too late. Kitty died before the ambulance could get her to the hospital.
That shocked the city. Now, it's not that a person got murdered that shocked the city. That happens, sadly. It's that a person got murdered and her neighbors watched and nobody did anything.
Imagine that you're in a room all alone filling out a questionnaire and smoke starts coming out from under the door. What do? If you're like most sane people, you get out, or at least tell someone in charge, and you do this without hesitation. When alone, 3 out of 4 people reported the smoke before the experimental period was terminated. The average time to report was 2 minutes of first noticing the smoke. Now imagine the same situation, except that you're not alone. You're with several other people who do not seem to care about the smoke. What do you do now? When 2 passive Confederates are present, only 10% of the subjects in the study actually got out of the room or reported what was a serious problem. 9 out of 10 of the subjects actually kept working on the questionnaire they were giving. They rubbed their eyes and waved the smoke out of their faces.
What are you doing?
Well, hello there. Today, we are learning about the bystander effect. Here, I have a picture of the bystander effect. Should he help him? We don't know. But according to the bystander effect, if these people were not here, he probably might help. But the more people that are here just passing by, the more likely he's not gonna help. Does that make sense?
No.
What do you mean that doesn't make sense? So, diffusion of responsibility is another very important term in life. And to the bystander effect, it's a very main point. As we see in diffusion of responsibility in my raised people over here, you have your people, and then he's thinking, oh, they'll do it. But they're thinking, no, he'll do it, she'll do it, they'll do it, this other person, they're reborn. And then no one ends up doing it. And it becomes the bystander effect. Make sense?
No.
Done.
How long before she receives help? Four minutes later, and 34 people have passed without stopping. They're afraid to stand out from the crowd and won't take action if no one else does. This woman has clearly spotted Ruth, but she conforms to the rule and does nothing. Watch what happens, though, when someone else helps.
You all right? You all right?
Yes, thank you.
Sure, you look a bit flicky, you know what I mean?
This time, Peter's dressed as a respectable gentleman. Now that his dress is in keeping with those around him, how long before he's rescued?
Hello, sir. How are you today?
I'm all right.
6 seconds. She even calls him sir, and suddenly everyone's a good Samaritan.
Do you suffer from epilepsy?
No.
Why you're lying on the floor in the rain?
Because he's part of the right group, everyone wants to help.
What would you do if you saw someone, especially a child, in trouble? Would you jump in to help or assume that somebody else would do it?
Hey, where were you, young lady?
One woman walked right by, believing someone else would take action.
Never go away from me. You hear me? Don't you ever go
And why didn't she do anything?
You think that someone else will take the blame, someone else will take the responsibility.
Hours, but two men finally listened to their instincts.
Help me! You're not like that! Someone 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 help me!
TV. Cops right there. Cops right there.
I actually had tears in my eyes, but everyone ran out, and I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe that they did what they did.
When there is a passive bystander, this effect does occur. What happens when you instruct one person to be active and step up? The results are completely reversed. We go from having a bystander effect, where people are less likely to help, to having what could be called a helper effect, where in the presence of more people, as long as one person actively helps, people are more likely to jump to be in a position to aid further. When you need help, your job is not to get anyone to help. Your job is to get one person to help. And if you can get one person to help, other people will follow. Now, how do you do that? If you're an audience and you know someone's name, you can call that person out. In another situation, you may not know, and you may literally have to find a way to single someone out.
Attention all psychologists. We need a psychologist to Lab 3 immediately. I repeat, immediately. Someone else will do it. My flowers.